Hey guys, in this video I'm going to build a couple flows and show you how flows sit on geometries inside of Giraffe. So let's do a flow that takes a building with a usage and builds a flow out of it. And we're going to be building, let's say, a mixed use precinct, and it's going to have retail on the ground floor, and then it's going to have towers on the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is just define a flow, and then we can paste it around, as in sort of a flow, or a flow becomes like a prototype. And so then we can paste that prototype around and then configure it. So I always start with identity, and I close this down. And basically what I want to do is I want to grab this geometry and I want to offset it. And then that's going to be the tower, and then there's going to be the podium. And so there's an offset transform. All right, and it can go -5, and we can just sort of do this. Okay, so you can see there's my tower and there's my podium. They're the wrong way round. So what we're going to do is write a feature property, and there's about 10 feat properties that Giraffe has that everyone needs to know if they want to manipulate the model. And stack order is one of them. So color, stack order, floor to floor, that's the distance from floor to floor. Levels, that's one. They're basically these ones over here. Levels, floor to floor, stack order. For stack just overrides whether something stacks or not. Height overrides levels. Base height, that's the bottom of it. Slab thickness, but really levels, stack order are critical. And now rather than this, I'm gonna say, let's say there's a common podium height for our precinct, and that is, say, 3 stories on 1 story. So what I'm going to do is I'll write a feature property, which is going to be levels. So I'll grab this and say levels, and that's going to be equal to 2 or maybe 3, like I said. And then I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to get usage names. Oh, that's not what I want. I want get usage, and I'm just going to get retail. And there we go. And now I'm going to apply a usage to this boy. Usage is going to be retail, and the levels is going to be 1. There we go. So that's kind of working. I will actually just write a stack order here and just make that 2, just to make sure that this 3 level is always on top of that 1 level. And now when I change the levels of the podium don't change because they're overridden. And I just want to do one more thing, which is an option here. I'm going to say there's 2 options here. It's either always retail, or sometimes it is car park. So actually, sometimes it's just resi. So what I'll do there is I'll do a ternary if, and the input is going to just be a toggle input parameter, and it's going to be retail podium, and the type is going to be a Boolean, and it's going to default to false. And if it's false, it's just going to grab this and do this. So it'll be resi, and if it's true, it'll grab this and do that. So it's going to apply this usage. But the way the ternary if works is if the condition is true, it's going to take A, which has been applied retail, and if it's false, it's going to take B, which is just the original. And so now if I'm here and I click retail, it turns retail on and off. Cool. Okay. And I'm just gonna embed this just for now. We can have this parameterized so we change these setbacks, but I'm just not going to for now. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to embed the data. So now we just have a retail podium, true or false. And this shouldn't be called identity. Let's call this setback tower 4 level podium. There we go. So we've got a setback tower 4 level podium. That logic is encoded. I believe we can actually change the usage. Yes, we can. So we can say this is a commercial one, and then we can turn the podium, the retail, on and off at the bottom. And now we can go and design, because we have this thing, because the flow is parameterized. The flow, the setback tower 4 level podium flow exists in the model, but the parameters this flow gets are coming from here. And so it's parameterized at the geometry level. So it's a very, very powerful abstraction. And where it gets even cooler is let's do this. So we'll grab this guy and then let's clone this flow and setback tower. Instead of setback tower, let's have setback tower with a twist. Setback tower, 4-level podium, twist. 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 Tornado. Okay. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to grab this tower, which is here, and this thing as this. So what we're going to do is we are going to read, this is a bit more complicated. We're going to read a feature property, which is going to be the bevels. And that is going to be, I'm just going to put it into a reader just to see that I'm getting it, that I am indeed getting it. Now, this geometry here has this setback tower 4-level podium. Even though this twist one is in the model, it's not applied to any geometry. So I'm going to apply it to this geometry. There we go. And now I can get my levels, which is 13. So that 13 over there is going to that 13 over there. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to create a series with 13 things. And I am going to map over that series. And I am going to, for every value of the series, I'm going to rotate in the vertical an angle, and that's going to be an input. Angle, twist angle, and it's going to be a number. And I think it'll default to, say, 2 degrees. And the centroid, and so what we're going to rotate is this. We're going to write a feature property here, which is going to be levels, and we're going to set it to 1. Or forward projected, so it's a Cartesian. So we're going to rotate this bad boy. And we're going to grab his centroid as well. Yeah. And he's getting centroid. And the angle is going to be a multiple of this angle by the index. So that's the angle. And then we are going to write the stack order. We're going to write the stack order equal to the index. But we're going to have to add something. So we're going to say add, and we'll add, sorry, not sum, add. We'll add 10. Right, and this. And we'll wipe this out. Okay, so we've made progress. Got some red. Centroid error, invalid geometry type. Okay, that looks like an array. So I'll get item to the square brackets. That means array. I'll do that. Okay, that's good. And now, almost certainly, this is because it's an array. So I'll get this list item. That. And I'll delete that. And we're happy. Okay, so what this is the twisting tower. And there's a twist angle, a start twist angle, like this. And then there is a twist like that. Okay. Here are. So now I've got the twist setback 4-level podium. And it's got the same thing here. I can put a retail or remove the retail. And then I've got the simple setback podium. And I can just do that. And I can do that. And now I've got a way of bucketing up my thought process because I have got these functions that are doing things for me. Like one is setting back towers and one is twisting towers, or setting them back and twisting them. And you can see where this can go. We could have it set back, twist, apply facade, apply usage, apply a structural factor for the twist. We've got all these little tiny cantilevers, apply a blip, 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 right? This thing can grow and grow and grow and grow. And as a computational designer, you can just be working there more and more and more. But the critical thing that Giraffe's trying to provide is this ability to put a fence around a cognitive process. So rather than trying to do everything all at once, this is the bit that does the geometry. Now, this is the bit that does the areas over here, right? So you can see that retail, there's 3,700 as retail. And if we turn on retail here, that goes to 4,900 because there's an additional 1,300, right? And that is the area calculations. And that sits in this bucket. So when you're in this bucket, you don't think about that bucket. And when you're in this bucket and you're looking at the retail, how much it costs and what the floor to floor is and what the color is, you don't think about either of the other buckets. So you're structuring up what you're thinking about at any given time, telling Giraffe what it is. And then because there is an ontology here, because these entities, this usage entity, this area entity, this geometry entity, Giraffe exists, they exist next to each other, they interact according to sort of general principles, you get all this out, you get this fruit, you get this output. The system produces all these outputs. So visualizations, shadows, and analytics. And also you can manipulate the system in a relatively predictable way. All right, so we've got that one. And then what we can do as well is we may say, well, this is our core. And then we want to do, well, let's copy this one actually, and I'll clone this and I'll say duplicate. And this is the setback. This is outer banks. Let's say it's not as central. I'll rename it to 2-level podium. Okay. And now you just do 1. Sorry, you do 1, you do 2. And that's it. I'm just going to save that now, right? And so now if I want to change this guy, I go to 2-level podium, and it comes down. All right, it's just one more bucket, one more typology, one more usage, or one more set of whatever they are.